Kindness is often described as a quiet force, something that does not demand recognition yet has the power to shift the direction of people's lives. When we think about small acts of goodness, such as a child offering water to a stranger, helping someone pick up fallen items, or comforting another person in distress, it can be easy to overlook how profound such gestures can become. They may appear simple in the moment, fleeting and almost unnoticeable in the grand span of time. Yet within them lies the possibility of immense transformation. The story of a little girl helping a millionaire CEO after he fainted is rooted in this idea. It builds upon the truth that kindness is never truly small, and sometimes what begins as an ordinary act can open doors to unimaginable change, both for the giver and the receiver. To understand the power behind this theme, one must look deeper into the motivation of a child. A little girl, by nature, is not calculating in the way adults often are. She does not weigh the value of her actions against the status or wealth of the person she helps. Instead, her response is instinctive, pure, and grounded in empathy. She sees a person in need, and without hesitation, she acts. This type of kindness is uncorrupted by self-interest, which makes it especially powerful. The girl's innocence becomes the driving force that sets everything in motion. Her heart leads before her mind can calculate whether it is worth her time or whether the stranger she helps has anything to offer her in return. For the millionaire CEO, this act of kindness represents more than the relief from his immediate distress. Wealth and power often create invisible walls around individuals. They are seen through the lens of their success, treated with reverence, respect, or fear because of their financial status. Genuine gestures of concern are rare, and when they do appear, there is always the lingering suspicion of ulterior motives. But in this moment, when the CEO faints and finds himself vulnerable, he is helped not by an employee hoping for a promotion, not by a business partner seeking favor, but by a child who knows nothing of his name or wealth. The very simplicity of her gesture cuts through the layers of pretense he has been surrounded by, reminding him of something deeply human and deeply moving. The unexpected reward in this theme is not solely material. Certainly, the girl's life changes because the CEO, touched by her kindness, feels compelled to show his gratitude in extraordinary ways. But the true reward exists in a much broader sense. It lies in the ripple effect. An act of kindness has the capacity to ripple outward, affecting not just the receiver but also everyone connected to them. The CEO, now awakened to the reality that compassion is not bound by status, may choose to live differently, to lead his company with more humanity, to invest in causes that uplift children like the girl who helped him, or to pay forward the kindness he experienced. The girl, likewise, grows up with the understanding that her simple compassion mattered. She learns that one moment of courage and care can alter not only her own path but the path of someone else who seemed untouchable. Another crucial element of this theme is that kindness, when freely given, does not require recognition at the time it is offered. The little girl helps because it is the right thing to do, not because she expects a reward. The irony, and the beauty, lies in the fact that this lack of expectation is what makes the eventual reward so meaningful. The CEO sees that her intention is genuine, untouched by self-interest. It is precisely because she did not know who he was that her kindness resonates so deeply with him. In life, many acts of help are offered with hidden motives, but when kindness is given without any expectation of return, it carries a purity that can pierce through even the coldest or most skeptical hearts. The narrative also reflects how power dynamics are inverted by compassion. A millionaire CEO holds influence, commands respect, and possesses resources far beyond the reach of an ordinary person. Yet in his moment of weakness, none of that matters. His wealth cannot stop him from fainting, nor can it help him as he lies vulnerable. In that instant, it is the little girl, small and powerless in the worldly sense, who holds true strength. She becomes the lifeline he needs, proving that compassion makes the powerless powerful. The unexpected reward flows naturally from this inversion. By helping him, she unknowingly holds a form of influence over his life, and he is forever changed because of her. Kindness also transcends barriers that often divide people. In society, wealth, class, and status can act as walls that keep groups apart. A CEO and a little girl might live in entirely different worlds. He may spend his days in glass offices, boardrooms, and luxury spaces, while she may live in a modest home, walking through everyday streets where survival and small joys define her experience. The chances of their paths crossing meaningfully are slim. And yet, it is through kindness that those worlds collide. It erases the lines society has drawn, placing them on equal ground, a human in need and a human who chooses to care. That collision itself is the unexpected reward, because it forges a bond that money or power could never create. There is also a spiritual dimension to this theme. Many traditions teach that kindness has a way of returning to the giver, though not always in expected forms. Sometimes it comes as a blessing, sometimes as an opportunity, sometimes as protection in moments of need. In this story, the little girl's compassion becomes the channel through which her life is transformed, almost as if the universe or fate rewards her selflessness. This creates a sense of moral justice, that good deeds, even when unnoticed at the time, do not vanish into nothingness. They carry forward, waiting for the right moment to bloom into life-changing results. The unexpected reward also lies in how it reshapes perspectives. For the CEO, who might have once measured worth in terms of productivity, profit, and power, the incident forces him to redefine value. The girl's action proves that worth is not tied to wealth or position but to the heart's capacity for empathy. He begins to see people differently, not as cogs in a corporate machine but as individuals capable of profound impact regardless of their status. For the girl, the reward is not only the changes in her circumstances but the deep-seated confidence that her choices matter. That confidence becomes a cornerstone in her growth, teaching her that even the smallest person can make the largest difference. Another angle to explore is how kindness is contagious. When the CEO experiences the girl's compassion, he may feel compelled to extend kindness himself. Perhaps he supports her family, perhaps he launches initiatives to help other children in need, or perhaps he simply treats people around him with more humanity. In doing so, the girl's one small act becomes multiplied 100-fold, rippling outward into the lives of countless others. The unexpected reward, therefore, is not confined to her personal story but extends into the fabric of the community, reminding everyone who hears it that generosity has the power to reshape entire systems. What makes this theme compelling is the contrast between what is expected and what actually unfolds. Normally, one might assume that a child helping someone fainting in the street would result in nothing more than a thank you or perhaps a smile. The expectation is small because society conditions us to believe that extraordinary outcomes are reserved for extraordinary actions. But the beauty of kindness is that it defies this logic. It demonstrates that ordinary moments can lead to extraordinary results, and it is precisely the unexpectedness of the reward that makes it so powerful. The girl never expects to change her life by helping, which is why the twist feels so meaningful. The story also touches on the vulnerability of human life, regardless of wealth or status. A CEO, despite his millions, is not immune to fainting, illness, or weakness. The reminder that even the powerful are human makes the girl's kindness stand out. In her eyes, he is just another person in need, not a symbol of authority. This simplicity strips away the layers of social complexity and brings the interaction down to its most human form, one person helping another. The unexpected reward comes from recognizing that humanity itself is the great equalizer, and it is in moments of vulnerability that true connections are forged. Finally, kindness redefines the very concept of success. For the CEO, success had likely been tied to numbers, deals, and corporate victories. But after experiencing the girl's help, he may realize that real success is measured in how much good one can bring into the lives of others. For the girl, success becomes the awareness that her compassion has worth. The unexpected reward is not merely material wealth or new opportunities but a shift in how both characters view life itself. The CEO learns to value compassion, and the girl learns the incredible power of her own actions. Together, they embody the truth that kindness is never wasted, and it often returns in ways that far exceed imagination. Emotional depth in a scene like this depends on moving beyond surface reactions and digging into the layers of feeling that make the moment unforgettable. The situation is already high stakes on its own, a father finding his lost child in the arms of a stranger, but without emotional resonance, it risks feeling like just another suspense beat. What makes it powerful is how the moment touches the father's identity, his history, his relationship with his child, and even the unexpected connection that the stranger's whisper creates. Emotional depth asks, how does this change him? What does it awaken in him that wasn't there before, or what does it resurrect from his past that he thought was long buried? Those answers are what make the whisper matter long after the scene is over. The father's first emotional impact is primal. Seeing his child again after fearing he might never do so brings a flood of relief so intense it's almost painful. His body reacts before his thoughts can settle. There's a sharp rush of warmth in his chest, a tightening in his throat, an almost overwhelming urge to run forward and scoop the boy into his arms. That's instinct, the most fundamental bond between a parent and a child, kicking in. But almost instantly, that relief collides with something darker. The sight of the stranger triggers confusion, suspicion, and a flicker of anger. This creates a cocktail of emotions that are hard to separate. The relief makes him want to cry, the suspicion makes him want to lash out, and the fear keeps him locked in place. That layering is what makes the moment feel real. People rarely experience only one clean emotion at a time in moments of crisis. His love for his child is the undercurrent, but it's not a quiet one. This isn't just about affection, it's about the weight of responsibility and the fear of failure. He's a single father, and that detail matters here. It means there's no one else to share the burden, no other parent who can reassure him, no partner to help carry the emotional load. Every success and failure in his son's life feels amplified because it falls entirely on his shoulders. Losing the boy, even for a short time, hits that raw nerve of inadequacy, of not doing enough, of not being enough. Seeing his child now, in the hands of someone unknown, is like a spotlight on that vulnerability. This isn't just a potential danger, it's a mirror reflecting the part of him that fears he's not capable of protecting the person he loves most. When the stranger leans in to whisper something, the emotional stakes pivot again. A whisper is intimate, it's not shouted across a distance, not explained to anyone else. It's a private exchange between two people, and the father is excluded from it. That exclusion cuts deep, because part of a parent's role is to know what their child is experiencing, to guard them from harmful influence. Not being able to hear the words in real time makes the moment sting with helplessness. He's left to interpret only the physical signs, the way his son's eyes widen or soften, the way his shoulders tense or relax. Those micro-reactions are all he has, and each one feels like a clue to whether the whisper is a comfort or a threat. The emotional weight of the whisper depends heavily on what it represents in his mind. Even before he knows its content, it becomes a symbol of the possibility that someone else has stepped into his place, someone who might have offered his son safety or solace while he wasn't there. That idea is almost unbearable. It's not just fear of harm, it's the fear of being replaced, of someone else forming a bond with his child that he wasn't part of. In that instant, the whisper becomes not just a message but a wedge, threatening the closeness he has worked so hard to build as a single parent. There's also the matter of who the stranger might be. Emotional depth thrives on ambiguity. What if she's a danger? What if she's a rescuer? What if she's connected to him in ways he doesn't yet understand? If her face triggers some memory, even faintly, the emotional terrain shifts again. She could be a link to a part of his past he's tried to forget, someone tied to his child's late mother, or a shadow from a time when he was a different man. That possibility adds a layer of dread and curiosity that simple fear can't match. In his mind, the whisper could contain a message meant for him through the boy, a warning, a reminder, or a debt called in. For the child, the whisper has its own weight, and the father can see that in his reaction. If the boy's expression changes from fear to calm, that calm might feel like betrayal to the father. If it changes from calm to fear, that fear fuels the father's rage and desperation to act. Either way, the shift pierces him, because it's an unfiltered window into what the boy is feeling, and he can't control it. Emotional depth comes from showing how much power this stranger suddenly has over the two most fragile things in his life, his child's safety and his own sense of control. The whisper also invites projection. Because he doesn't hear it immediately, his mind starts filling in possibilities, and each imagined version carries a different emotional punch. Maybe she told his son something terrifying: "Don't speak, he can't help you, you're not safe." That would ignite his protective instincts to their most dangerous level. Or maybe she said something heartbreakingly kind: "It's okay, I'm here, your dad's coming soon." That would trigger gratitude tangled with guilt, forcing him to confront the fact that his fear of her might be misplaced. This mental guessing game intensifies his emotional storm, because every imagined outcome demands a different response from him, and he can't know which one is right until it's too late. Another aspect of emotional depth is how the moment connects to his personal history with his son. If the boy was lost because of a lapse in the father's attention, then the whisper becomes even heavier. It's not just what she says, but the fact that someone else was there to say it when he wasn't. If their bond has been strained recently, perhaps by his work or personal struggles, then this moment crystallizes all those tensions. The whisper might feel like a pivot point where their relationship could be strengthened or shattered, depending on what happens next. The scene also stirs emotions tied to his late wife or former partner. If the boy's mother is gone, then the father might feel an even sharper sense of sole responsibility. Seeing a woman holding his child could awaken grief, memories of how his wife once held their son like that, how she once whispered to him. That grief doesn't cancel the fear, it mingles with it, creating an ache that's both personal and immediate. The stranger's whisper might even echo something his wife once said, either in words or in tone, adding a surreal layer to the encounter. Emotionally, there's a transformation that happens in these seconds. He starts as a man in shock, caught between hope and fear, but with every detail, the way she holds the boy, the intimacy of the whisper, he's pushed deeper into emotional territory he can't fully navigate. The whisper isn't just sound, it's a catalyst. It forces him to confront his own vulnerabilities as a father, his fears of loss and inadequacy, his unresolved grief, and his need to protect at all costs. The depth comes from how all of these emotions coexist in him at once, none of them neatly separated, all of them feeding into each other. By the time the whisper is over, the emotional impact has already been made. Even if he hears the words moments later, they arrive in a mind that's already been churned by anticipation, suspicion, love, fear, guilt, and possibly longing. The content of the whisper might confirm his fears, ease them, or open an entirely new wound, but its true power comes from the emotional ground it's been planted in. That's what makes it linger long after the moment passes.